Over to Ben Wilson, shot into center ice, knocked away by Gordy Roberts, and picked up by the Blues. And now over in front of the net. Here's Presley getting into it with Rick Mahar. And the linesman Ron Finn steps between those two. Well, I don't know if he was after Mahar or Paul Cavallini, but he was trying to throw a punch over top of the linesman, was Presley.
I think he was after Mahar. Presley wanted to go. Now Mahar wants to go after it's over. Meanwhile, Lemieux and Ben Wilson. That'd be a pretty interesting tussle right there. And the linesmen have their hands full here. And they finally separate the two sides. But Ben Wilson would like to fight with anybody on any day, any place. Doesn't necessarily have to be an ice rink.
Gino just missed the net. Lindros held it in at the point. Now to Evans, now to Herkus.
Puck at the point. Ludzik had lost his stick. Ludzik was coming up with his gloves, so Gingras put his stick up to protect himself. It was about shot Chicago 4-3. Chicago shoots the puck in, but it's icing as Benning touches it and then takes a hit from Ludzik. And then one of the Blues, it's Evans, goes after Ludzik, who has an absolute crowd around him, and I believe it's Yanni who has a stranglehold on the Blues player Evans, who might choke to death. Meanwhile, in the corner, who's that? Paul Cavallini. He looks like a wrestler. Looks like he's going to butt heads. He's really strong.
Well, this game had been a very tough game in the first period. It settled down somewhat here in the second, but now it erupts. Paul Cavallini has Dwayne Sutter in a headlock. Cochran and Gino Cavallini are paired off.
We've got less than gentlemanly types on the ice for Chicago. You mentioned Dwayne Sutter, Ludzik, and Cochran. Those are three pretty tough boys.
Well, they call the Cavallini brothers now in St. Louis the Flying Cavallini brothers.
Oh, Dwayne Sutter and Paul Cavallini, and they may let him go. The most feared words in hockey. Let him go. And it is a struggle in 60 seconds, struggling, fiercely wrestling on ice skates. It's about like running a marathon.
Well, now they separate Cochran and Gino Cavallini. And now they have some separating to do of Sutter and Paul Cavallini. And now the referee Koharski back trying to do that. The linesmen have ushered the other two to the penalty box. He orders them to separate, and they do.
Manson from the point, a shot hits Ragland, goes to Vive in front, Larmer shoots wide, puck at the side of the net in front, they score! Rick Vive carrying from the side of the net, and that cuts the Blues lead to 3-2. And Brian Sutter is extremely upset, yelling at the Chicago players. Pass too far for Santapass, goes the length of the ice. Paul Cavallini really smashed by Santapass, who touches the puck.
Splits it in, digging in is Ludzik. Gingras took him out back of the net. Paul Cavallini comes up with it. Cavallini trying to clear it. Did to center ice. Yanni knocked down there. And now stealing it is McKechnie. And now back of the play, Dwayne Sutter. Oh, and here goes a ruckus that started by Dwayne Sutter and brings everybody right over in front of the Blues bench, and there were bodies flying everywhere.
You talk about a third man in. That was third man in as defined in the rule book. Now Larmer's on the bottom underneath Paul Cavallini, and everybody going at it. They're going to get Ludzik, who I believe was the third man in, into the penalty box. That'll help. He jumped Lemieux from the side. They may be taking Lemieux to the dressing room, at least to the penalty box. And meanwhile, in front of the benches, everyone paired up. And things get calmed down rather quickly, considering what happened. And Dan, I think it's safe to say with an incident like that, a couple of seasons ago, that would have emptied both benches.
You are right. Now they get heavily fined, suspended, and all that business, and that stopped a lot of that.
We get a look. Lemieux steps in front of Dwayne Sutter, knocks Yanni down. Then Dwayne Sutter whacks Lemieux from behind. Lemieux reaches back for Dwayne Sutter, who knocks Fedorko down. Lemieux shoves Dwayne Sutter, and then Ludzik comes in like a freight train. Here's the announcement.
Dwayne Sutter.
And Daryl Sutter points the fan out to one of the policemen on duty and says, I want him out of here. Win. Gets it to the side of the net. Shot blocked by Larmer scores, but no goal. The whistle have gone again.
A very quick whistle. I'm not sure that Millen ever had the puck in his trapper, and the Blackhawks are absolutely incensed. The puck went high in the air. It was headed into the trapper, may have bobbled in the catching glove of Millen. Don Koharski blew the whistle. He's explaining to Savard that he saw Millen close the glove on the puck. This play, watch defenseman Ben Wilson. He looks like a palm tree. He never moves. And Gino Cavallini gets more time than he ever deserved. And Gino makes no mistake. But that's a weak defensive play by Ben Wilson.
Into the corner. Now Paderco back, and we're going to get a penalty against Lemieux here as he got tied up with the Blackhawk player. And now Chicago will have a man advantage as Lemieux goes to the penalty box. And the Blues are worried about Jocelyn talking himself into an unsportsmanlike conduct call. And he'll be headed for the penalty box.
In the second period, Lemieux took a penalty that he shouldn't have taken. A roughing penalty that created a Chicago power play goal.
Fires it up on the boards to center ice. Hawks, Wayne Sutter shoots it in. It's all over. The Blues win 5-3 and win the series 4-1. Series, but in Stanley Cup tradition, now the teams skate down the ice and shake hands with one another. Whether they've battled all the way or not, that's always the way it is in Stanley Cup play, and I think it's one of the great traditions. You see a guy like Rick Vaive out there. He and Tony Herkus talk it over. Vaive apparently cut Herkus earlier in the game. But it's all over now. The Blues have won the game 5-3, win the series 4-1. In the 21-year history, there's Darren Pang, the little 5'5" rookie goaltender, and the veteran Greg Miller. In the Blues' 21-year history, this is their first victory ever over the Blackhawks in the playoff series. Blues have lost 4 previous series. Savard and Millen have a hug for each other at center ice. And Bedlam will rain down in the Blues locker room. These Blackhawks are the bitterest Blues rival. And the handshakes continue as the Blues win the series 4-1. They'll take on either Chicago or, Toronto or Detroit in the next round. A 2-goal outburst in the third period. The game winner by, again, the rookie Brett Hull. A clincher by Gino Cavallini. Hull had 2 goals in the night. There's the 2 goaltenders. The young guy and the old guy. And the Blues win the game 5-3. Win the series 4-1. Here at the arena, 14,887. Hope you've enjoyed it as much. It has been fantastic.